Ladies and gentlemen, we're back with more Engine Starter Saloon and more live podcasting action this weekend. So it's Friday night, past 11 p.m. right here in Singapore. My next guest is someone I've been looking forward to chat with for the past 2 weeks. And there's this saying, the longer it takes, the better it gets. So tonight, episode 6 of Engine Starter Saloon will stream live on this Friday late night edition. Today's September 24. It's 11 p.m. And it's all live across Engine Starter's channels, including Twitter, Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. We will learn about unique VR metaverse places that you can bring new experiences to your audience, reimagine and deploy stunning metaverse environments to help people connect deeply with each other using immersive technology. You also learn about why we are moving from, hey, come check out my pad, to let's teleport from one spot to another in the metaverse. And also doing VR podcasts in the metaverse, and learn some tips and hacks from our special guest, Taron. And of course, he's also doing it entirely in the VR and filming his podcast in the metaverse. So this is where we'll get to ask him a lot of questions and share more tips with us. So without further ado, let's do a final introduction for him. Taron is from Armenia. He's now residing in Los Angeles, and he built tons of VR things and has a really extensive history both in manufacturing VR accessories and VR AR development. He also manufactured most of Google Cardboards in the world, about 3.5 million headsets in total, through his first company, Knoxlabs. And then he built the first web VR development platform, Rodin, that enabled front-end developers to build device-agnostic VR AR apps. And currently, he's the chief scientist at Knoxlabs, the only VR marketplace. Recently, he also launched a VR offices app called Knock Knock, and he's passionate about inventing new ways for input for VR and AR. So without further ado, let's welcome him to our stage. How are you, my friend?
Wayne, hey, good. How about yourself? Thanks for having me over.
I'm incredibly well, and I've been really excited because you're my first guest from Armenia, and of course, it's a very interesting place. And I've always been fascinated by Armenia. So my first question is about related to music, actually. Are you familiar with the band System of a Down? Does Serj Tankian rings a bell to you?
Yeah. Of course, I used one of their songs for like a presentation once on stage. I love System. That's awesome that you like it too.
Yeah, I think they are the band that is singularly responsible for maybe, bringing attention to the country Armenia to my, to my radar. And of course, I love their music. But of course, this program isn't about music, and we're going to be talking more about metaverses tonight. And I understand you've done tons, in this space. So perhaps you could walk us through and give my audience some context of, your background. Maybe start off with, how you get started in this space, and walk us through your entire history in this industry.
Thank you, Wayne. I love the energy, man. This is awesome. Things. Background is electrical engineering. And I did some math as well. But so like I had recently graduated from college, and basically I didn't have work. I wasn't doing anything. So I was watching the Google Developers Conference in 2014, and they handed out the Google Cardboards to their developers as a gift. So and then they open sourced it, the design. So I was like, okay, let me just for fun put up a page, since say you can pre-order from here pre-made Google Cardboards. So and it was more of something for fun, something as a joke. So I made a page, called it Knoxlabs. And then that day 500 people pre-ordered, and I was like, damn. And then now I have to learn how to cut cardboard. And then I was actually kind of sad. I'm like, this is what like my life amounted to. Like I did a bunch of engineering and stuff. Now I'm gonna like cut cardboard. Uh, so, uh, but I did it anyways, and then Google reached out at like some point. Their like VR team was like 3 people at the time. They're like, hey, can you manufacture for us as well? I was like, I mean, it's your product. You guys came up with it. Like, sure. So like I started making like headsets for them too. Like, and ended up like doing it for like a bunch of companies through them, like The Simpsons, New York Times, and then these companies started asking, hey, like can you like brand it, make it like custom, and then can you also make VR apps to go with it, with the phone? So it's like, okay, I'll go along the journey. And then so I like
That was how many years ago, by the way?
This was 2014, 2015, so like 6-7 years ago. So made a team in Armenia of like for developing like custom phone-based VR apps, and then after a while, I realized that like we realized as a team that like it's tough to build VR AR apps, especially if like you don't know 3D, and like the what we had built, like it was a good template. So we're like, let's make this into a platform. So we created like Rodan from there, and Rodan, because you're sculpting in VR, like that's so it was like a way for you to basically you use a web-based library to build like VR AR apps, and then push it to like all the existing like devices. So they would like work natively on the device, and then you would be able to edit it from the web, your app. So and then from there realize like there's a much deeper problem in VR, which is like the tools that are used for making the tools themselves need to be retooled. So that's where we're at now.
This is a great history, I think, in terms of like walking through, your career and how, from just very humble beginnings, right? Selling cardboard, Google VR headsets, should I say, those mock-ups or very simple versions of it. And you have grown into something where you actually develop apps for this space. And it's incredibly exciting because I was just looking at and sharing screen of your website, right, for Knoxlabs. And he has grown from just selling cardboard, Google headsets to now, having so many different branded headsets as well. So like I noticed also that you have this strategy where you like to be device agnostic. So your website sells basically all kinds of different branded headsets. And even the Rodan is a platform where it's also device agnostic, right? You're allowing people to build apps that can work on basically any headset. It could be even a Facebook Oculus Quest, and that will also work as well. So definitely we want to talk more about how the all transpired and where it brought you today, because I think the most exciting app, or should I say solution, you brought to this world probably is Knock Knock. So maybe tell us about Knock Knock, how it was birthed, and transitioning from an e-commerce side to building a web app development solution, right, to now building a metaverse environment that enable even like remote working teams around the world to actually do stand-ups or even metaverse meetings, right? Tell us where did you get this idea, and how did it work out for you so far for Knock Knock?
Awesome. Yeah, Knoxlabs. So now it's like a VR marketplace. So like e-commerce, like helping other VR manufacturers sell their equipment. So Knock Knock was born during COVID when it started, and most of our team thing is remote anyways. So we wanted to come up with a way to basically be together and then like give teams ability to be together, to feel like they're together, and like give them tools to do it. So like a good whiteboarding ability to like easily bring in files in and out of VR, and fun. I think it should be fun. So like right now we're at a stage where the hardware like is good, but it's not good enough for you to be there, for you to be in VR like more than like an hour, like 2 hours. So with Knock Knock, we wanted to act like kind of like your social phone. It's something like how we're doing a call now, like how you do a Zoom call. I just want you to go into Knock Knock, like do your social and like ideation parts, and then get out. Not stay there and like do your whole work there. So to augment the work or work environment. That's why it's called Knock Knock. Like just knock in and knock out, like to your room.
That's a great, story where how this name actually came about, right? I think it's a fantastic name for a metaverse or virtual platform, and I just want to maybe stop that music in the background. But we were just looking at some of these incredible, scenes, right? And where your environment looks like it's beautifully, architectured and beautifully designed. Did you, actually have special people or teams that actually are great at designing environments that actually import it into this environment? Tell us how that process came about.
Yeah, it's mostly my team that takes the credit, not me. So I think super talented team. We found each other on Reddit. So the main developer, our lead developer, is Daniel, and his sister. Actually, they're from Hungary. His sister Esti, she does stage design. So like and she's expanded her like genius into here. And we met on Reddit, and then we've never actually met each other. So we work together. And like we build in like we meet in VR, we meet in Knock Knock, and just build remotely. So I've never actually met them. So it's awesome.
It's fantastic. I think one of the good things that came out of this pandemic is people from all parts of the world, right, coming together to form startups or to actually work on new projects like this, where you don't have to be in person in the same building or in the same office, but you could still create beautiful things, right? I think one of the best product of that is definitely Knock Knock. I've been looking at some of your metaverse environments and some of the even live podcasting you've been doing there in Knock Knock. So maybe let's dig a little bit deeper into Knock Knock, because this is like a VR collaboration solution, right? And how different is it compared to for those who are new in this space and maybe trying out or testing different solutions? Like we know that Facebook recently launched one called Horizon Workrooms, right? And they probably have a capacity maximum, I think, of only 16 people, for example. So could you do some comparison for us? And what are some findings as well that you've gathered after running a pilot to actually validate if Knock Knock could actually help increase productivity of like remote teams, especially for smaller teams, right? Who want to see whether they could adapt, to your solution for their daily stand-ups or internal meetings, and even like new employee onboarding and training.
Yeah, that's awesome. Thanks for covering a nice spectrum. I think Facebook going into it is really good. It validates that there is the market is if not ripe, it's at the like early stages of getting so. So we right now are piloting with different teams to really understand what they need, and what they use and what they actually don't use. So with workrooms, it's very stoically concentrated on like work rooms. It's a workroom. Like you can't walk around, you can't have fun in there. So it's and then which is great. So it's like built for that single purpose. Where we want to differentiate is for this to meet more like our personalities as well, as like you want to have fun, like while you're in a thing, like in a social environment. So we like, you want to throw things, you want to be able to like high five, right? So we're taking it more of like the funner route. So it's like workrooms but fun. So there's like toys there that you can use, like you can like use a like toy water gun. There are games there you can play with, and like lots of magic. It has to be very magic inclusive. So just enough so like you're you know it's somewhat real. Like, so that's why like things like that, like we want to make sure you can just draw on the wall, not in the air, but like sprinkled with like as much magic as possible, right? Like, for example, one of the things, like the way we bring in like files from your like you want to send a file like from your web account, you're able to upload like right now image, text and stuff, and in VR you just pull it out of your head from your avatar, kind of like Dumbledore from Harry Potter, like with the memory pensieve, right? So, and then if you want to like take a file out of VR, you just put it in your head and then it goes out. So lots of magic. And we're now exploring like content creation with like with like a camera that we made, that you're able to record yourself, record like a podcast in there, set different points, and like someone can direct. Or like we just made one, we just added a feature like auto podcast, so it just tracks your voice and who's talking and films them. So we'll see which area picks up more.
I think it's beautiful that you have given us this description of your how it stands out from the other solutions in the market, right? I was using Facebook Horizon, the workroom, and you definitely feel more claustrophobic. You feel like the space is more congested, especially if you have like maybe you're in a boardroom environment, right? And there are 16 people in there. So it's definitely great to have that kind of freedom to move and walk around and to actually pick up stuff, right? Because with the controllers, the ability to grip and to pick up things and even throw things at each other. I think that's really fun. I think that's something that we definitely want to do more of, and in Knock Knock. And it's definitely some, a very exciting, a new platform for remote teams to actually get into and, get familiarized. I think in terms of the adaptation, right? What are some of the findings, from the 10 teams that pilot this solution for Knock Knock? Like from this collective feedback, right? How would you improve the solution next? And we know that during the pilot, the only caveat is that everyone who participated has to have or actually own an Oculus Quest, right?
Yeah.
So we know that your strategy has always been device agnostic. So in the future, will you open your Knock Knock for other device owners as well?
Yeah, I think you hit it like right on the nail. It's one of the main problems is that like they need to have that hardware. And like Oculus has made it really accessible, which is awesome. Like they've like the work they've done is commendable. It's awesome that which it enables us to build on at the top of it. So I lost my train of thought. to make it more device. So some of the findings that we had, like, is people, like, it's a very new space. Like you imagine, like, being able to just like press a button, but like people that have never used VR, they, like, when you start, like, you were in an elevator, right? And you were saying going into your room, like, people don't know how to press that button, and which is awesome. Like, it's like completely like new UI thinking. That's the number one thing that was like surprising to us. Like, it's not using the features, it's nothing, it's just like interacting with like a button. So that's been the most surprising find from working with Bing, with like teams. So and then the issue is also like they haven't tried VR at all, so it's like you're onboarding twice. So that's always a thing. So like you're onboarding them onto Oculus, and then from there to Knock Knock. So it's a like very two-pronged problem.
Yeah, I think very well put. For those who are going to be using Knock Knock for the first time, probably for them, it's also like a very new experience for them, or maybe even their first time putting on a VR headset, for example. So maybe this is a good point for me to maybe go off on a tangent and actually ask you to tell us and share with us your first experience discovering VR, because we know that you started really early, right? And you even had this Knoxlabs e-commerce store that was already founded way back in 2013 or 2014. So we know that most people, when they put on a VR headset for the first time, right, just like me, we are all wowed by VR, and we are wowed not just by the entertainment value of it or the video games like Beat Saber, right, which is really fun. My kids love it, for example, but they're also wowed by the experience of it, right? Like, what then happened to you when you discovered VR for the first time? You move into like different directions, like having Knoxlabs and then Rodine, and of course now you have Knox. So tell us about the relationship that you built, with companies like Google after you discovered, VR for the first time, and now that you're interacting with more high-level people in the industry, right, that do this sort of thing as well. Maybe tell us and continue from there.
Yeah, sure. First, like VR experience was through Google Cardboard, so through phone. It was like looking at a bird, which was like insane. First, like full VR experience was using a Vive to go like into the ocean, and like that was just it's like it's still magical.
Virtual deep sea diving, yeah.
Yeah, it was like called Deep Blue or something. It was like with like a whale, and like I showed like my mom as well, like, and it's like it was awesome. So I think where we are now, like this is the like main issue that we need to solve in the like longer period for VR to become like a standalone field on its own, like both like more hardware based, because like right now we're still at a point where both like design paradigm wise and hardware paradigm wise, the hardware is an extension of like the PC and mobile phones, right? Like the way you interact with inside, like when you're using a browser, it's flat. It's like it's still, the thinking is still made for like flat based screens. So it hasn't. It's kind of like a hybrid car, right? Like it's not fully electric yet. It's like a Prius. So like when like the iPhone came, it was a mobility device first, then a phone layer on top, right? It wasn't built as a phone. Like that's why like the Palm Pilots before, they were just like a computer like smashed, made into little, and then put into your pocket. That's why you had like a miniature version of the keyboard, which is ridiculous, right? But it hadn't fully like expanded yet, and in the mindset that this is going to be a new, like with Tesla, right? It's a AI vision, and then like software company first, then a phone layer on top, then a car layer on top, and electric layer on top. So it's completely new and it's for its own. With VR, it's still at that stage where it's still an extension of the old like older paradigm. So we need to get away from that, and like one of the main ways of doing that is actually like reinventing the tools that we create with. That's why like tying it all together, like why we went into like Rodin is really to give anyone the ability to create. Because if when you truly can create in VR, not just interact with the dead world that's already being created for you, like a game is already created for you, then we can move towards really building the metaverse. And I think the way to do that is to come up with solve the input, like which right now is still through letters and words. So we need to come up with a new alphabet that's made for VR, like a new human alphabet with living letters, and like so it has to be like neural based. And I think that's going to be essential for building VR.
It's wonderful how you responded to this awareness that this VR technology and experience can actually reshape the way that we interact. Like someone like you didn't like stand by idly by, so you actually do something about it. You developed Rodin and then Knock Knock, and this tons of great stuff. And you mentioned about tools as well, like tools at this point where all of us are simply creators, right? Even someone like me, I'm a podcaster, I'm a creator. But even someone, who is working in the office can also be a creator now, because they could just effortlessly create or even pull in 3D objects, right? Just like when PowerPoint first came out, everyone just naturally knows how to adapt and present for the first time in their lives, right? Or when Clubhouse came out, everyone can be a podcaster and do live podcasting in Clubhouse. So we can simply, like speak all these things into existence, almost like Iron Man telling Jarvis to maybe suit up and prep the trip to another multiverse, right? I think this is what you just mentioned about neural or even AI and voice and all this technology that help us to get rid of all this character input and using all these very ancient or antiquated tools that are slowing us down, especially when we are already immersing ourselves in this metaverse, right? So I definitely want to talk more about the metaverse and maybe tell us some of the memorable experiences that you have actually experienced or created so far using your Knock Knock platform. Was it a recent VR theme podcast that is done in VR and filmed in VR? Was it one of the most memorable ones?
Yeah, that was actually thing. So actually, I would love to have you on that podcast as my guest. I want to know your story too.
It's a date.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Let's do
It's
it.
a date. See you in VR. So it's called See You in VR, and we film it in Knock Knock using our camera, our tools. So it makes it so much easier, Wayne. Like it's so powerful to create so easily. It's like it's surprising for me too. Like I enjoyed doing that podcast. Like so we had like our like the camera you could control. Like so we had a virtual cameraman. Our like that Daniel was thing, like he was filming from a computer and just moving the camera on. Before, like we built like before the auto podcaster. But dude, it was so easy, like, and it was so fun to like to sit together. Like if I want to talk about something, like I just showing you something, I'm pulling it out of my head. Like if we want to like interact with something, I'm like putting it up on the wall, and it felt so natural. So like now I want to give these tools to as many people as possible, because the more we create, the more like we are more free. Like we have like an internal sun, right? Like that, like it loves to shine, and it loves to be seen. But like it's hard, and then because like to be able to write, you have to be a good writer. To be able to like talk, or like to like create this kind of content, you have to have the tools. So the easier it is to create with our tools, the better we are seen. The better we are seen, the more we know about each other, and the more we know about each other, the closer as like humanity we will be. So I think it's very important.
Very well said, my friend, and I totally agree with you. And since you're already creating so many memorable moments, right, in Knock Knock, so could you maybe share with us some other memorable experiences in other metaverses as well? Like for example, personally, I've experienced some incredible experiences in other platforms or virtual platforms, right? Like spatial, or even
Spatial is awesome,
yeah, spatial is awesome, or even Facebook's VR chat. And of course, we mentioned about Horizon Workrooms. There's also the other kind of metaverses where there's a lot of, in-game experiences or even in-game currencies called Decentraland. And the Sandbox, I think today they just announced a collaboration with Snoop Dogg, right? And it's such a well-executed metaverse project by the musician. And of course, there are so many other platforms like CryptoVoxes. I think that's probably some of these very popular ones out there, and I think that Knock Knock deserves to be in that list as well, and more people should discover and get on it. What are some of the basic features or wish lists of every metaverse event organizer? I think you are also a metaverse event organizer because you are doing a live podcasting in Knock Knock. So tell us, what are some of your basic or maybe wish lists or things that are good to have that you would like to see in these virtual platforms?
That's such a good question. Having people in there with you is different. Like it's that I think that's like my like next thing is like maybe like having people like to watch the podcast. That's like, and the thing is, when like you're in it, right? But then like these other platforms, like they're all taking it in such like wild directions that like I don't even know like how it's going, like, and it's like some things are just over me as well. Like I don't know how like decentralized is going to pan out, and like what they're doing is just like fuck, like it's like so I like some of the things I don't understand, and then like I don't know how it's going to come like all together. Like I still don't know how like we're going to like what's the ether in between. Like how do you go from one to another?
A portal. Or
Yeah,
a portal. I think that's the right
but,
term for
but
it.
who builds that, right? Like it's like Facebook is building their own metaverse, and you can't even call it a metaverse because it's, unless you can go from one to another, then it's just like I guess it is a metaverse that within a metaverse. So but
It can surely be a true metaverse if we are Iron Man, right? We can suit up and just fly from one planet to the other through the cosmic and to interplanetary, right? And if it's only like one planet, then it's not a true metaverse. So like what Facebook is doing is a closed wall garden. We can't travel out there into Decentraland, for example.
Yeah, that's the problem. Like when you open your computer, you don't, like, your browser gives you the internet, right? You don't open up your computer and you're in Facebook and you go through like Facebook to go into the internet. It's kind of like AOL. Do you remember AOL?
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So what Facebook is doing reminds me of that, like where every part of it is in there. And then we're gonna see like companies, like how AOL broke up, and like different parts became different services. Like there was someone doing like browser, there was someone like making like the best music player, like payment system, this, that. So I think we're going to see that happen as well, and we're going to we do need like a congregation of people of all the makers for us to be able to build the building blocks of like the universe of like kind of like what does like TCP/IP on in the thing in VR look like we need to lay the foundation for the Ether, not just apps in a headset. That's the thing where I'm saying where we have to get away from the mentality of like it's still a mobile phone device where it has apps. Like when the iPhone came along, apps were a new new thing. They were not websites. So we need to get away from apps. That's one of the things. I don't know what it looks like yet, but that's
This is why it's so exciting to be in this space, because we don't know what's coming. But I've already seen some probably workaround solutions, or like some metaverse builders, right? They're like masking taping different apps together or different technology together, so that you can actually traverse from maybe Decentraland into cryptovoxels, and from cryptovoxels can go to spatial. And how they are doing this is also quite mind-boggling. But I think what they are, or the strategy that they're using, right, basically is to have basically built for one virtual platform, and then they actually replicate that to other platforms as well. And how they're able to actually, improve that traverse, right, or to actually help, visitors or users launch from one to the other. I think they do it more seamlessly, but it's still very, DIY right now. And of course, I think these metaverse builders, right, they're going to be thriving if they come up with something that is more seamless and definitely pain-free, and just enhance the entire experience, right? Then people will actually stay longer, and the average spend time when we're in our VR headset will definitely be extended. Yeah. So I think I was asking you earlier, my question was about the wish list. You mentioned something that is really good to have. How about other things like 3D buildings, or even guest books, where like visitors can leave their Ethereum address, for example? Someone who's familiar with the crypto world as well, we love to airdrop NFTs or even collectibles into visitors' wallet, right? So imagine if you do a live podcast, right, in Knock Knock, and people can just sign up a guest book and basically just copy and paste their Ethereum address, so that you can drop them either a NFT gift, or like what's popular in Decentraland these days is called POAPs, which stands for, I think, proof of attendance protocol. So like if they are one of the live studio audience for your next live taping where you interview me, right? And they could actually, leave their Ethereum address, and then we can actually manually give them a POAP after the live taping. So that's one way to maybe enhance the features, right? To make these metaverse more, user-friendly and more memorable. Do you think that these are enough? Like 3D buildings, for example, is that also like another part of visual development of your space, and increase that virtual real estate size as well? Instead of just interiors, you can actually walk out of that and be able to maybe see an animated 3D building. Is that something in the works as well?
That's so powerful, actually, what you're saying there, like the tying it together with the attendance token. That's really awesome. Actually, yeah, like live builders are important. Not like what I mean by live is not using pre-made like fabric or pre-made like 3D objects to build. So like making the object yourself, or like making the object that does a function itself, and then being able to tokenize that. I think that's what's going to be important, like getting closer to like how do you think that before they become words, like what's the real Wayne down there at like a new,
like the ideation or the concept,
yeah, at like at a neural stage, right? Like what does like the word like strong mean for Wayne? Like how do you see strong, for example? When I say the word strong, how do you imagine it?
Strong as in strength, as in power, as in like force. Yeah.
See, right? Like one word, all right? Completely different things. Like I see strong as like a red rock. Okay. And now we have to use more words to describe that one. So like words are kind of like the first blockchain, right? Like they're agreed upon like sounds, agreed upon like letters, like symbols. So we need to create like neural based concept outputs for you, so you can take your concept and give it a living form, like kind of like living hieroglyphs that contain a state, content, and like a functionality that themselves are tied as NFTs. So that's what I imagine as like a new kind of alphabet. And then from that we can derive like concepts that are like similar across all humans, regardless of like culture, regardless of thing, like the idea of the mother, right? Like so I'm reading this now to actually understand more of so it's like
this is Carl Jung.
Yeah. So I want to understand where like the archetypes, the ideas in all of our heads before they become words. So and then there are like some that like are similar across everyone, like, and then they're like in the collective unconscious. So like mother idea, right? It's very before it's even like you even have a mother, it's very universal. It's like to the universe. So I think understanding that and then building up from that is what's going to, like, we have to go like deep to the building blocks to understand who we are and how we're going to build.
I love it. I think maybe even we can tie this together with even like how we love music, right? Like, the reason why we love beats and rhymes or even like rappers is because, when we were still in our mother's womb, right? We are hearing a heartbeat, right? Even as newborn, we are still inside the womb. We are already hearing music even before we were born into this world. So it naturally became such that when we interact with music for the first time during our teenage years, or even as we grow older, right? Music just becomes more and more powerful. It just comes to you naturally without like overthinking it, right? Because of what we experienced even before we were born into the world. I'm not sure whether this is something similar to what you're saying, but
it is
really brings to mind something like that. Yeah.
It's a good point. Think my mom actually had like a good theory about like we were talking about like the universe and stuff, and she's like, like when the baby is in the mom's womb, like it lives in a completely different universe. Like it has no idea that there exists an idea or there exists a place outside of where it is now and that place has humans that are looking at it, or there exists like things outside of its confined space. And like when you're poking at it like with an ultrasound, it's like an alien thing like coming in, right? Like so when you're born, you actually die in your universe. So like you come out like crying, right? So it might, like when you were telling me about music, like, and it reminded me of that, like where the baby has no idea, but it's, and similarly how we have no idea of whatever this universe we are in now, that itself can be a womb as well. And I can't even say like for another universe or like a parallel dimension, or that, because my brain is from this universe. So anything, when I say parallel universe, that neuron that made that thought is still in this universe. So it's not really a parallel universe. If I can imagine it, I can talk about it. It's part of this universe. So whatever is outside, even the word outside is wrong, is something unimaginable. So that's why, like, I'm like the multiverse and stuff are interesting, but it's not truly different universes. That's what
I love this conversation, and when it actually goes off a tangent, and we're talking about the multi dimensions. This is even more interesting to me. But of course, we are all in this space where we want to create environments, right, for opportunity, for stories to happen, like what we are currently doing now. Like this topic that we just brought out is only possible if we have maybe this platform to actually bring people together, and you're doing that with Knock Knock. So you're creating environments for opportunity, for stories, new stories to happen, where people living in those like interchanging environments, right? They can create new stories. Yeah, it's no longer storytelling; it's like next level story living. Do you think that this is something that is basically one of the goals and objectives of what you want to achieve with Knock Knock as well, and building metaverses platforms, right? The main thing is to actually bring people together, and instead of like just telling your friends, come check out my pad. Now it's like, let's jump from one spot to another spot in the metaverse and see where we'll go next, and create new stories, opportunities together. So it's like all these portals that allow us to traverse to anywhere we want. This ability, that we are now seeing starting to happen, where people can hop between platforms, beyond just hopping between rooms, right? This Ready Player Me, kind of concept has now interoperable avatars as well, which what you just mentioned. You can create maybe new avatars while you're in the new environment in the metaverse, and you could maybe using the tools available, right? You can actually paint a new or create a new 3D model of a new avatar where you can actually turn it into an NFT, or even port into as a new identity with you from location to location, or bring it into other games, for example. So these are the possibilities, and they are limitless, and it's all up to the imagination, right? Do you think that trying to determine what is real and what isn't real, and expending unnecessary energy, like versus experiencing information, like do you genuinely believe that trying to classify realities is a giant exercise in missing the point? What's your hot take on that?
Oh, that's a good point. I love first what you were telling about, like story living. I like story creating. That's super important, because at the end of the day, like we're story makers, right? Like we're story makers of the universe. I don't know if it's the second point, like if it's missing the point or not, because the fact that it exists, and it exists in that way, that means it has a purpose. There's a purpose for curiosity from like a universe's perspective, right? It exists. So the things that exist do so until they're not needed. So I think like It's the fact that this pixelization exists now is necessary for us to build the ether. So it's presenting the problem with that is where it's like it's very disconnected. I don't know if I hit your point or if I understood it differently. Sorry.
I think you did, because in other words, right, it's like understanding relationships through the memory of a person's avatar and then transferring that consciousness is a more fruitful exercise and probably the only thing that matters, right? So there's no need for us to like, spend energy like thinking, is this real or this isn't real? It doesn't really matter. What really matters is that, if we can be in the same room, be it in a virtual reality or in a knock room or in the metaverse with another person, the reality is what we experience, and mediums like knock, whether dreams or even real reality VR, right? These are all non-consequential because technology draws us into each other, right? Rather than further away. So this actually expands or adds on to what a real life experience is all about. Yeah, it actually enhances humanity. Don't you think?
Yeah. Actually, that's a very fresh outlook of where it's not like taking you into a world and getting you away from reality, and like I like that perspective. Wayne, actually, thank you. I'm gonna think about that some more and use it. Yeah, it's expanding our reality as you said. Yeah,
and this is what makes us feel alive, right? Like right now. This conversation.
Yeah.
So I think this metaverse is definitely something that we're gonna see, not just hype. People are getting into this space in more numbers than before, not just because of the technology enhancements, the hardware, or the accessibility. Like anyone who wants to get started can just go to Knoxlabs, to your e-commerce site, and basically see the different categories of hardware that is required to get started, right? And if they want to use this in platforms like Knock, it's just a click away. So tell us, how can people reach you, and what are you looking for when it comes to like future collaborations, and how can we be useful? I think that's the message I want to ask into you.
Yeah. So think my Twitter, I check a lot, or Facebook. Search my name. I'm like active there. And yeah, but doing things like this is just like I'm learning so much, man. Like I'm and it's awesome. Like because like when I was like talking with you, I was realizing like a lot of the things like it's already like things I know that I've talked about. I'm talking with you about it, and it's important for like to like pick up new things, and like from your knowledge, like it just like gave me a lot of new places to think about. So I think it'd be awesome if we can do VR in Knock, do like a podcast there, like get your feedback, ask you questions, so that would be amazing, actually.
That would be awesome, and I've already accepted your invitation. Let's shake on that.
Yes.
I actually hope you shake your hand in VR. It's more fun actually when you shake hands with friends in VR. And of course, we don't want to miss this live podcasting chat about VR in your Knock and Metaverse Next. And just let us know when we can come on, and we definitely want to also use the opportunity to ask you even more questions as well. Like I think I've actually ran out of time. We are almost hit the 1 hour mark. One of the questions I wanted to ask you, I didn't get a chance. Perhaps I'll ask during when I come on to your show, right? Is to maybe ask you, the coding or the architecting process of building a metaverse environment, like what you've done with Knock, and perhaps even describe to us a timeline to build a solution like that. And these are the things that, it's always very fascinating to know about the process. So, before we let you go, I usually do this with every singular podcast guest that comes on to our show. I want to do a rapid fire round. So the rules are pretty simple. Just keep your answers as short as possible. Maybe 1 or 2 sentences maximum. Try not to overthink. Yeah. So are you ready?
Okay, let's do it. This is awesome.
What are your proudest life moments?
That's a freaking thing, man.
Try not to overthink.
Yeah, Armenia. Like being in the backyard.
What do you want doing less of in 2021?
Emails.
What do you want doing more of in 2021?
People interaction.
What would you want written or carved on your tombstone? I know that this is a little bit morbid, but this is just for fun.
Yeah, here he be lived.
Advice for people getting into the metaverse.
Be yourself.
Any future ambitions or side projects in the pipeline?
Space. Yeah,
that's brilliant, my friend. Maybe we'll talk more about space.
Yeah, 100%.
Come on to your show.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. It has been a really enjoyable conversation. Just like the saying, right? The longer it takes, the better it gets. So I really enjoyed this. And thank you so much for agreeing to come on, Taron. So any last words or messages for our listeners who are replaying this podcast on their AirPods or smart speakers later on?
Thank you, Wayne, for it's fun. Like this is like the best morning to wake up to. Just starting the day good, and like your energy is awesome. So thank you for everything. Lots of hugs.
Lots of hugs. I can't thank you enough for coming on. So keep crushing, my friend. I'll see you very soon. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye,
See you
Wayne.
in the metaverse.
Mm-hmm.
Bye.
See you in the metaverse.
And that's our podcast guest, Taron. And you can actually find out more about his e-commerce site at Knoxlabs.com. He also have a fantastic VR apps development tool available on web called Rodine. And of course, third one, Knock Knock. You should go check out his metaverse virtual platform. So with that, I'm saying goodbye, and we'll be back on Monday with more ENJINSTARTER Saloon, and we'll be talking about venture capital. So that's a new topic for us to cover on this fascinating show. And with that, please enjoy your weekend. Take care of yourself. Take care of everyone over there. Goodbye. Good night.